February 23rd is fast approaching. It's the deadline for employers to file a 2022 Employer SARP return. The Special Assignee Relief Programme, or SARP for short, provides personal income tax savings of 12% for employees who've relocated to Ireland and meet certain conditions. Relief is available for qualifying earnings for up to 5 years. In this short video, myself and Rory Morgan outline important changes to SARP impacting employees arriving for the first time between 2023 and 2025. We also outline the practical tips you need to know to qualify for SARP under these new rules. So Rory, to start us off, chat me through some of the changes impacting SARP from 2023 for new arrivals.
The first change is that the SARP threshold has actually increased from 75,000 to 100,000 for new entrants from 2023. The second change is that employees will actually need to be tax registered and have their PPSN at the point of the application. This essentially gives them a 90-day window to complete both these registrations. The third change is that employers will need to confirm that they're fully compliant with payroll real-time reporting obligations at the point of the application.
So that sounds like a lot of change. If we look at the first point, which was relating to the higher base salary, so new arrivals who will be paid less than €100,000 per annum, as a base salary will no longer qualify, but some will be quite close to that threshold before relocation. What do we advise in that instance?
Unfortunately, if it is the case that employees are below this 100,000 threshold, they won't qualify in that particular tax year. But if it is the case that their salary increases above that level and they meet all the other conditions, then they will qualify. But an application still needs to be made within that 90-day window. So it is worthwhile actually carrying out an analysis when the employee arrives in order to confirm and see if an application should be made. So we can actually assist with this analysis and the application if relevant.
That's great to know. And the second point you made, Rory, was now that eligibility for SARP relief is formally linked to being tax registered by the employee, and that has to happen within 90 days now. So if the employee doesn't meet that condition, they effectively lose SARP relief for the entire 5-year period. That's an awful lot of pressure to place on the individual. How realistic is it for that condition to be met?
It's a challenge because you need your PPSN to actually complete that tax registration, and our experience in the past is that there can be long delays in getting the PPSN.
Yeah.
Now, thankfully, we are aware that the Department of Social Protection has announced that will actually help escalate the PPSN applications where needed for a SARP application, and that they will have a dedicated address going forward for this purpose. So it's important that employees actually are fully aware of the processes and timelines for these applications, so we can actually assist with these, and employers normally facilitate this assistance.
So that understanding that process from the employee is really critical. And then the last point and the last change relates to payroll confirmations the employer now needs to give as part of the SARP application process. So we help employers all the time calculate SARP relief, implement SARP relief through payroll. But the confirmations required put extra pressure on employers in relation to confirming their payroll processes are up to scratch.
Yeah, that's correct. So we would help employers not only review and ensure that employees actually have the right net salary, but also that their real-time reporting obligations are fully up to date. So this change means that if an employer is not fully compliant, an employee can actually be denied their SARP relief, even though all the other conditions are actually met. So it's more important than ever that robust payroll processes and procedures are actually in place so they can give these confirmations when needed.
I think that's a really critical point, and it's something we helped a local employer on recently, where we reviewed their payroll processes and especially their controls around SARP, as they will now have a group of individuals under the old regime and a group of individuals coming in under the new regime. So really important that everything is handled correctly from a payroll perspective. And finally, Rory, with the February 23rd deadline for the SARP employer return coming up, what information does the employer need to collate in advance of that?
So it's important to be aware firstly that the employer return includes both local and expat employees. In terms of the information that they'll require to give the gross income for SARP purposes, as well as the SARP relief actually provided through the payroll. Also, if they've actually provided any tax-free elements during the year which qualify for SARP relief, such as school fees or flights, they'll also need to give this data. So because this is off payroll, employers should be aware that it might take some time to actually collect and collate this data.
So still a bit of time until February 23rd. Thank you, Rory. With changes to SARP relief from 2023 for new arrivals and an ongoing revenue focus around payroll compliance, we recommend employers educate employees relocating to Ireland on the changes and consider a review of payroll process to gain comfort in relation to confirmations being provided. If you'd like to understand more about SARP and how we can help, please contact myself, Rory, or your usual KPMG contact.